Hey you, so I'm sorry I'm doing this from my car. I am, sorry, BTB number 2, actually number 3, but whatever, volume 2, we'll do it like that. I'm waiting on a closing for my house, for me, by myself. So I recorded last night. I said I would do it every Thursday. They didn't turn out well, so I'm redoing this today. All right, then. Last week we covered BTB, what it's all about, being better than your best, finding the positive in everything, and always improving, never losing again. It's very feasible. Chapter, I said we would do the outline, do little excerpts, video excerpts, so I could speak to you before the book comes out, okay? Based on each chapter of the book. So chapter 1 is, chapter 1 is letting the past be the past. That seems easy to do, right? It's not easy. It's not easy at all. It will be, though, in about 15 minutes, because I'm going to teach you how to make it easy. There are 4, I'll say, options to begin with. There are actually just 2 options. Let me not complicate this, my bad. Option 1 is to wallow. Option 2 is to realize, which leads into option 3, which is distraction, and then option 4, which is being like me, professional. You're professional at this, no worries about it. All right, 2, 3, and 4 are steps. The choice is yours. Wallow, follow my guideline. All right, then, number 1. All right, here's how we do this. Let's do this. Let's do an example. Let's say that there's a young lady, and she has, and I'm not being gender specific, it can go either way. Don't be that guy. Stay with me, okay? Come on. I'm waiting. I'm never rush, but I adore you. Sorry. It is what it is. I speak freely. So we have this young lady, and she was in 4 very serious relationships. Say she was one of those emotional types that just fell in love and did this. She was in love all the time, okay? And she was completely devastated from those 4 previous breakups. However, she did get married. She got married once, and then they got divorced. However, this is her second husband, and they have been together, let's say, 15 years, okay? And they have 3 children. 7, 9, and we'll make the eldest a girl who is, I don't know, like 13. She's going through all this emotional drama. I'm trying to make this as tragic as possible. No offense. I'm just saying I heard those girls are hormonal. Okay, here's the setup. So her husband, after 15 years, left her. Just straight up dipped to Mexico for another woman. Left the kids destitute. She was a stay-at-home mom. She has no education. She graduated from school, okay, but she has no financial independence. She was completely reliant upon him. And then all of a sudden, she's slapped with this in the face. He just ditched me. He took the good vehicle and left me with the one that literally stalls at every stop sign. So I got to push my kids to school, okay? Let's say that it's completely deplorable. Let's add a little bit more. She came from a wealthy family, and they have turned their back on her. So she has no help. She has no one. Say her husband was possessive and he was a jerk, okay? And she wasn't even allowed to leave the house, so she has no friends. She doesn't have anybody. Suck that in for a moment. That actually does happen. I'm not saying flee to Mexico. I don't know about all that. Whatever. Actually, I'm sure it does. People do this to other people. Here are the things, the obstacles that she is facing physically, realistically. Number 1, her heart has been ripped out. The agony of the man that she committed her life to has left her for a younger woman. Number 2, she has 3 little babies that she needs to care for that are suffering at the loss of their father. The daughter was a daddy's girl. She's the only girl. She's the eldest. She's going through all this emotional hormones and things of that nature. She has no financial means. She's been left destitute. She doesn't know how to apply for welfare. She came from a wealthy family. Oh, I like how I set all this up. Thank you, Lord. That's good. She doesn't know how to do that. She doesn't have any family or anyone to ask. What does a person in this situation do? Here's where the options come in, all right? Number one, they can wallow, focus in that agony, lay in bed, be depressed. Let's say the eldest, she's a girl, she's old enough, she can take care of her brothers while I get through this, while I suffer, because I'm on the way to depression. That's absolutely logical and understandable, really. There's no problem with option one unless you remain in option one. You're allowed to mourn, and you definitely, most certainly, need to realize your circumstance. That way you can deal accordingly, all right? Don't think I'm making light of that. This girl's heart was ripped out, man. She's devastated. She has no financial means. She's left with a house payment and a broke-down car and 3 kids that are wondering where their daddy is and why they left their mommy and why their household is broken up. Man, that's not light. That's serious. Okay? That's why here's what we do. Here's what we do. Choose to stay there. Don't do that. Don't do that. Here's option 2. Step 1 to success. Realization. Realize your circumstances. In my outline, I would, if I had one, sorry, okay, I'm in the car waiting for a closing. It would be 1 and then A and B. So under realization, A is realize that she had been through this 4 times before. As I said, she was emotionally crushed and devastated, but yet she still fell in love and found a husband and didn't love those 4 anymore. But she was married. 1 divorce. Oh my gosh. But she still got over him. She got married again to an even creepier guy. Circumstance became even worse. It did. It never stops. It became more dire because now she has these babies to take care of and she doesn't have any means to do so. All right. Realize that she has gone through this 5 times already and found love again. She can do it again. She can do it again. She can focus on, I've already been through this. I got through this. Whatever you have to focus on, any kind of suffering that you have gotten through and actually forgotten about and no longer emotionally affects you, that is what you cling to. That is what you derive strength from. Wherever you have to pull strength out of there, I don't care. As long as you realize that you have gone through suffering before and have forgotten and no longer feel that pain. You've done it before, you can do it again. That's her. Okay. So she's on 6. Her circumstances are different now. All right, that's okay. Here's number B. B is realize what an idiot and a jerk he was. What a loser. Here's what I did. I was married for like 15, 16 years, whatever. I loved him. He was my best friend. We have 3 babies. We have 3 sons together. We spent our entire lives together. We had built so much. So I was devastated at the separation of losing my family and what I had invested and thought would have been my future. I did that. And it hurt for a little bit. Until I started thinking, you know what, dude? This guy was lazy. He had no ambition. Sorry, it's a synonym. Who cares? For real. I just focused on all the negative traits of him. We would fight, and I used to call him a fish out of water, a pancake, because he would say one thing and then do another. He would never follow through. Okay, I had no follow through. Again, no ambition, no drive. I see why I got beat. But a pancake, flip flop, fish out of water. That's funny. Hey, everything I say is true. I did have a smart mouth, but only if he deserved it. Either way, who cares? So I was focusing on all the love that we had and how come he could leave and, why did we separate? Why doesn't he want to be with me anymore? Why doesn't he want to work it out? Instead, I had to turn that around. Man, why don't I want to work this out? He used to beat me. He was horrible. Fractured skull. I should have died. I didn't even count those in the last video of deaths. Good Lord. He was a terrible person, and he wasn't up to par with me. He was possessive and kept me locked in the house and wouldn't let me have my careers because every time I did, I would get promoted, and then guys would hit on me. I'm a pretty girl. What are you going to do? He was insecure. He did not support my endeavors. He wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom forever. That's just not me. It's not my applied in life. So I started focusing on that. Where would I be in 10 years from now? Locked in a house, being a miserable, alone stay-at-home mom because my kids are at college being successful because that's how I raised them to be. No. I focused on all of the negative things about him. And that gave me strength to be like, ew, gross. So in her circumstance, she could be like, dude, he left me for a younger woman. Straight up took off to Mexico, left his kids. He was not a good father. He left us desolate, destitute, and didn't even leave us money. Took the savings, left me with the broke down car. Man, this dude was a loser. He was a jerk. And I was a good wife. All right. Gross. Gross. Focusing on that, we'll get into quantum physics, okay? It changes emotion to logic inside your brain. It's a literal tactic. It works quite well, actually. Thinking about the negative about that person that hurt you will innately give you strength and change your mindset instead of reminiscing about all of the great times. All that does is keep you in current pain. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's going to come back. Those good thoughts will. What do? You refute them with, nah, he was a jerk, man. He left my kids and me. He took all our savings. I got to push him to school in a broke down car. I only got 2 wheels, okay? Whatever you have to do, you think of the worst thing about the person who hurt you. Don't you wallow in it. All right, so those are step 1 and 2 of realization, or A and B of realizing your situation. Now we get on to option 3, step 2. This is my favorite. You're allowed to mourn. You're allowed to hurt, but you need an answer. You need an answer. You need a solution. In her circumstance, she had no one. She had no family. Remember, I said they abandoned her. They didn't appreciate or approve of her decision, so they neglected her. They left her. She doesn't know how to get on welfare. She doesn't know how to get help. What do you do? What do you do while you're drowning in agony and sorrow? After you do realization, you start becoming driven. Ew, they were gross. I'm better off. All right, cool. How do I become better off? Here's what you do. Look up YouTube. Get online. In that case, she should be like, how do I apply for government assistance? How do I take care of my kids? First, I would go to YouTube. And I would say, how do I get over a cheating spouse? How do I get over a man who left me after whatever? You can literally say anything to YouTube, and it will give you a plethora of people to watch. Find the right ones. We're all positive on YouTube. Hence my presence here with you today. Well, most of us are, I think. So she should begin learning. Why did he cheat? Because people need answers. When someone hurts them, we need answers. Abandonment and rejection are quite logical issues that come with pain. Okay? It's true. Look that up. Look up how to create a resume, how to build up my self-worth, how to regain my self-confidence. Do whatever steps you have to do, but find an answer. Make some phone calls. Again, while you're laying in bed hurting, while the kids are at school, get up and take care of them. In her circumstance, what I'm saying. Ain't about you. Don't. Okay, that's how this came up. My mom, she had her heart ripped out, and she had 4 babies. You saw the last video. You know what she did to us. You know how her life ended? Thank God my daddy got custody of us because he cared not much about us to fight for us. You know what she did? She spent the next, I don't even know how many years, because I never really talked to her or anything, getting married and divorced, and who knows what she went through. Drinking. She drank herself to death, or I think she might have had cancer. I don't know. Anyway, she died. She died alone. Alone. That's sad. That is what wallowing will potentially get you. Don't do that. Don't stay there. Don't let it get you into an addiction that you are not able to get out of. And we'll get into addiction later. I've been through them, and praise God, 2 years clean. Only because of her sacrifice in the life that she made, living as a martyr, the Bible says, or as a byword, the Bible says that if you don't listen to the Lord, you will live as an example and a byword to others. That's true. She was an example to me, to my brothers and to me. And because of her death and her terribly tragic life, I learned what not to do. Plus, my daddy was wonderful, and he taught me to never lose and always conquer. And then the Lord. Okay, I'm sorry. Back to option 3. Feed your brain. Feed it. You need to learn how to grow, and you need to learn how to get through whatever you're going through. You've already realized your circumstances. It's easily accessible. You can lay in bed, eat a bucket of ice cream. No. Eat a gallon of ice cream, get a bucket of fried chicken, dude. I don't care what you have to do as long as you're feeding your mind. And if you go to sleep crying, turn on YouTube, play it on loop, some type of a positive motivation so it gets ingrained in your subconscious. That's quantum physics, is changing the right side of the brain, which holds emotion and keeps pain relevant and able to harm you, to realizing what is going on, and now I need to find a more effective way to deal with it. This happened, yes, so what? Yeah, who cares? EMDR therapy. I wrote it down, but it's in the house. It's eye movement EMDR desensitization, however you pronounce that, desensitizing. Okay, let's do that. And reprogramming, something of that effect. Eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. Look it up. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be recorded. I'm waiting for my closing guy to get here. Yeah, reprocessing your brain, desensitizing the trauma. That's what EMDR therapy is. If you need help, look it up. EMDR. Find an EMDR therapist in Indiana. They're rare. Who cares? Find one. My guy, my actual therapist, my EMDR guy, paid $500 for me to take the course so I could do it. That's how important this is, and that's how expediently it works. This video is going to be long. Great. Who cares? They did a study. Okay, I think they did a CAT scan or whatever you would do to see the color of the brain. They did one firefighter who had tried to rescue a family. However, they died, or at least one of them died. You can look it up. It was like CNN or something. This was, I don't know, probably 15 years ago. And they were experimenting on this test. And then they had another gentleman that they scanned who was in Iraq, and his best friend literally got blown up to pieces in front of him. When they did the scan of his brain, red shows up as trauma. It was all red. I would say down here wasn't red. Those are different sensory organs. You study the brain. It's actually quite interesting if you're a nerd. Okay, so I like it. Anyway, yeah, all this right here. You got the frontal lobe. Men and women have different lobes that contain emotion. Sorry, we're different species. I get excited about knowledge. Who cares? So all of it was red, man, red. On both of these gentlemen. They did EMDR therapy. You know what happened? After a few sessions, 20% red. 10% red. Huh. Barely recognizable. And that was only because it was not done on other topics that they had gone through that maybe perhaps they were unaware of or had not been addressed for sake of the episode. Okay, let's do that. That's a true story. Look it up. So if you really want some quick help, but you don't want to study quantum physics or go through that yourself, then look that up. Find an EMDR therapist in your area and go see them. That's an example of 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I even say 3 is distracting? Distracting yourself with knowledge, information, feeding your brain. When you feed the brain, there's synapses in there, and they grow with learning. Okay. Dr. Caroline Leaf, she is who I purchased her program and I studied her. She's a scientist. She's a world-renowned scientist. And she's also a Christian, which, I am too. I like her. I like her a lot, man. She's real smart. She's very smart. She does 2 props on stage while doing her seminars. She has a, good Lord in heaven, green tree full of life. And then she brings out a black tree that is just made of steel. There is no life there. What I took from that is focusing on the negative brings forth no life. It only brings forth death, destruction, mentally, ambitiously, if you will. When you feed that positive side, when you feed your mind and you learn ways to overcome. Then you implement them. That's a different boost. Feeding your brain is a serotonin boost. Actually implementing is a very different type of rush. It's a dopamine rush. That's why addicts, that's why we did what we did. We were seeking that rush. Well, you can get it in a positive way simply by feeding your mind. Anyway, feeding her mind. Good Lord in heaven, I'm sorry. Feeding your mind creates that green tree. What comes from a tree with green leaves? Life, life, life. Positivity and knowledge. Positivity and knowledge create life. Negativity and wallowing, sorry, it's true, creates no growth. We'll say that. Also death. It did for my mom. It did for her. It's very sad. Don't do that. Here's the answers. You just had them. All right, that's as in-depth as I'll go. Accept what you strive for. Step 3, option 4 is becoming where I am. I'm such a pro at getting through this because I've done it so many times. Instinctively, when I have an issue, YouTube. Well, first of all, I'm kind of hardened because, I already know it's going to be okay. I already know I've been through worse than this. I've already made it. I'm already going to be great. I know my self-worth because I did many videos on that. I'm pretty great person. I'm successful. I'm wonderful because I studied how to be wonderful. Built my self-worth. I probably had to spend hours rejuvenating my brain and my confidence. And I'm kind of arrogant. It's true. I even had to do that. There's no shame in that. You find out whatever you need to do to win. Whatever you need to look up, win. Distract, learn, implement so you can help other people. All right, 22 minutes again. I'm in my car waiting. It's important. It's important. As I've said before, don't you let them affect you. Instead, use them as tools, because that's what they are. In order to gain experience, knowledge, strength. Derive strength by any means necessary. Don't go out to bars, man. Don't hook up. In this girl's circumstance, the one I was talking about initially, the example that I'd given you, don't listen to negative friends who tell you, girl, go out. You have a daughter old enough, she'll take care of the kids. It's your turn. Go get him back. Make him jealous. And then hook up. I call them void fillers. Okay, I'm older. My kids are all grown. And I was allowed to have a void filler. Not sexual. I don't hook up. Each to each their own. Do your thing. I don't really care about that. I'm no judgment. I would do whatever. What I'm saying is, while it's okay to have a void filler because they do numb the pain, they distract you. All right, cool. Do your thing. Don't bring them home to your children. Don't move them in your house. Don't jump into a relationship too quickly without knowing them because you're hurting and trying to suffice your own desire and need because you're in pain, because you were cheated on or whatever. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know why? Because people are evil, man. Don't bring a stranger into your home. Know them first. If you're an adult, you're allowed to date. You can hook up. You do whatever you want. I don't care about that. Don't bring them into your home. I've been on the receiving end of that a couple times. It's not cool. You don't trust strangers around your family, around your babies. And my babies, again, 17, 18, 25, they're still my babies. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Someone probably had to hear that. All right, then. I think my guy's pulling up. Let me go close on my new house. I'll share a story about... Oh, crap. Okay. So, my husband and I, we had an argument, and I told him that we needed a break, and then he took that as a break up because I'm not legally bound to him. I will never be legally bound to another man ever in my life. I didn't want to the first time. I don't want to change my last name, not being legally bound. I'll be loyal. I'll be faithful. I'll wear your ring. And we'll exchange vows before the Lord because I'm Christian. I want my married but pure. To be deplorable. Sorry, it was gross. Anyway, yes. Sorry. All about that. Anyway, so... I'm not redoing this video. No, my father doesn't watch. Okay. So we had a disagreement, and I told him that I needed a break. And then we communicate via Google Duo, which is our 1 minute increments, okay? And so I'm like, dude, like it was like 5 of them, okay? Because I'm telling him he did these 2 other things that had upset me, but because we had separated prior, I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want him to leave again. Nope. I learned from that, don't you worry. So the 3rd time, that was it. That was it. And he's not cheating or going out or doing anything bad. This was stupid stuff that I was upset about, that had I spoken with him about it, it would have been easily cleared up like it was when we did talk. It was no worries. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to lose him, because he just bought this house and we're going to have this great life and blah, blah, blah. All right. It didn't work. It stayed here and it was unresolved. And then I just, in 5 videos, probably 9. Again, 1 minute increments, don't judge me. Okay, so, yeah, guys here. Okay, so, point being, I went off, wasn't like calling him names. I just said we need a break, and then I said, okay, it's a breakup deal, or I'm sorry, this is a breakup video. Deal with it. And then he was gonna go to Florida and stay at his ex-wife's house because her daughter just had a baby. It's his first grandbaby. He raised the girl. He's a good man. And I wanted him to stay in a hotel, and then who cares, whatever. But then he told me about COVID in hotels. And I'm like, dude, don't say there then. Go do your thing. You should have told me that. The first 2 times we talked face to face, you never brought that up. That seems fishy to me. I don't like that. So because of that, I said, you know what? We need to take a break. That seems very, very stupid. We could have just talked about it. I overreacted. I did. Who cares? I'm entitled to my emotions. I am, as are you. But I did learn from that. So the next morning, he called me, tried to talk to me, and I didn't want to. So I just didn't answer. So he got very upset. So then the next morning I sent him a message. You know what, baby, I'm sorry. I don't want this. So he said, yeah, we could break up, whatever, separate, whatever, who cares? I don't want this. I'm sorry. I overreacted. I should have spoken to you prior. I'm very sorry. If this is what you choose, cool. But I just want you to know that I'm sorry. It was my fault. I overreacted. I should have spoken to you. Whenever the first issue came up, we have a good relationship like that. This was my bad. I was just afraid that you'd be angry and then it would be over. And, I didn't want to lose everything that we'd worked so hard to reestablish. I said that. Only 2 videos. When we spoke later that day, he said no. All right, cool. He said he doesn't want to go through that again. I said, okay. Guess how long it took me to get through it this time. First breakup, the dude that bought the gun, who actually tried to hit me with a car. This is crazy. Okay, so last night while I was recording, I realized 3 people tried to hit me with cars. The first one did hit me. I bounced off my roof. That was my ex-husband. And then the second one, I got better. He ran over my foot and broke it. I still went inside and worked. And I worked at Case Jewelers or something. Yeah, I sold jewelry. Who cares that day? Yeah. Then the 3rd time, which was the last gun buyer, I just jumped out of the way. BTB. How did I not get hit by a car? Okay. It's just weird. Why do people always want to murder me? I'm not that bad anymore. I used to be. Who cares? So 21 days in bed with the guy who couldn't hit me with the car. The narcissist. Learning, growing. That's how I learned to do this. And then the second one was my husband. And I was 3 days in bed feeding my mind. Guess what happened this time? House on the line. I'm staying with a relative. Everything was counting on the success of our relationship. Guess how long it took me? Maybe an hour and a half. That's true. Because I was already conditioned. Because I had already realized. Why would I want to be with someone that I say I'm sorry to and he won't forgive me? That's basically his only fault. Why would I be with somebody who would leave so quickly? I'm going to mess up. Why would I want to be with someone? I'm nothing like I used to be. Why would I want to be with someone who doesn't understand that people make mistakes? Why would I want to be with someone that I cannot tell how I feel and speak freely with, although we've already established that? Why would I want to live my life walking on eggshells? I wouldn't. And I didn't. So immediately, I put on YouTube how to get over a heartbreak. While I sat and worked on the re-editing, after I get it back from the editor, I redo it. This is from me, my book. So, and she's wonderful. I love her. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I was working on my book. I focused on something positive to distract while I had the other distraction going on, feeding my mind, because I'm that good. I'm number 4. I'm a pro. So it's feeding my brain. I already realized. I already got that. I'm already step 3. And then number 4, conqueror, 2 hours. That's crazy. That's crazy. We've lived together. It's been years. We loved each other. You know what happened? I deleted all of his stuff, his pictures. I deleted everything from 2 years. Delete. Well, I deleted it the first time we split up, which was back in December. So almost a year worth of stuff. Delete. Didn't call him, didn't text him, didn't beg him, didn't do nothing of that. None of that. None of that. I already know better. You know what happens? He sends me 5 messages that night. 5 video messages.